Welcome back to Tuesday, guys. We're in the Scholarium. We're going to check out what the merchant here has for us. Then we're going to head to Imperial City and see what the Telvar merchant has. And finally, we're going to go to Infinite Archive, see what that vendor has. We'll run an arc or two of Infinite Archive and see what Overland gear is dropping. So we have lots to share today. Let's check it out.
Scripts and grimoire.
First up, we have Bound Affix Script, Intellect and Endurance. Adds Intellect and Endurance, buffs increasing Magicka and Stamina recovery. Bound Focus Script, Pull, adds a pull. Bound Signature Script, Anchorite's Potency, adds a Consume Soul Gem to grant ultimate effect. And that looks like that's it. Let's head over to the Telvar merchant. We are now in the Imperial City sewers. We're about to talk to Here's the Stone. We happen to be in the Ebonheart Pact base, but she is available in all three bases and will have the same in each alliance.
Keep throwing more.
First up, we have Malaboltor treasure maps. Malaboltor gives us Salvation, Spinner's Garments, and Thunderbug's Carapace. We also have a chance for the Ancestral High Elf motif leads for gloves or swords. However, Malaboltor treasure maps are pretty cheap from guild traders, as are those motifs and the gear. I would skip this. Definitely not worth 6,000 Telvar, in my opinion. Bound Affix Script Mangle adds Mangle, a debuff reducing max health. Bound Focus Script Poison Damage adds poison damage. Bound Focus Script Restore Resources adds resource restoration. And Bound Signature Scripts Knight's Valor adds improved use of bash or blocking. Next up, we have one of our skill style fragments. This one is Fragment of Rulaniel. It is for Annulment Vibrant Yellow. This one comes from the group boss in Rulaniel's Fall in Green Shade. Remember that best we can tell, these are a guaranteed drop the first time you attempt this. So since this is just a regular public dungeon group event in a base zone, not something I would spend 5,000 Telvar on, but it is here if you would like it. Our first lead is Chain of the Werewolf. This one is for Shapeshifter's Chain. It drops out of the Craglorn Delve, Hircine's Haunt, but you will dig it up in Blackwood, and you need the Blackwood DLC to even be able to buy it. So remember that. I don't think this one's particularly difficult to get. A lot of us probably aren't getting it accidentally. I don't know that I go into Craglorn Delves all that often these days. It is here if you really want it, though. I think 25,000 Telvar is a little bit steep, but that's just me. Our next lead is Coral Clasp. This one is for Pearls of Elnofi. It drops out of all bosses in the public dungeon, Roots Under Ruin in Grotwood. Again, I don't think this one's terribly difficult and probably not worth 25,000 Telvar. All right, our gold jewelry this week, we have Arcane, Healthy, and Robust options for both the necklace and ring of agility, and then the Plague Break amulet and ring as well. All right, time to head over to Infinite Archive. We are now in Infinite Archive. Violet Ool is at the very back of the entryway.
Don't complain to me if you...
First up, we have Bankerai treasure maps. This is yet another base game map. So it's going to give us 7th Legion Brute, Spriggan's Thorns, and Vampire Lord. Also the Ancestral Orc Legs and Shield, all of which can be gotten fairly cheaply through guild traders. I think 2,000 Archival Fortunes is a little steep for this map. All right, Bound Affix Script Innervation adds Innervation, a debuff reducing critical damage. Bound Focus Script Dispel adds a Dispel. Bound Focus Script Trauma adds Healing Absorption Effect. Bound Signature Script Rowing Impact adds Enhanced Buff and Debuff Application. Next up, we have a shoulder style page for Tremor Scale. Relatively plain looking shoulder here. This one's going to drop in Vollenfell whenever the mask is dropping. This one you get straight from the Undaunted vendor, so I don't know that 15,000 Archival Fortunes is really worth it for a shoulder piece. Companion equipment, medium armor. I never recommend companion armor. It is bound when you get it from Filer Ul, and you're at the mercy of RNG to see if you get a decent trait. I usually skip this one. Disgusting Spoils. Consume 25 Disgusting Spoils to unlock the Scheming Skeever's achievement and the Malographic Skeever pet. This is guaranteed in order. You start with the mount and you go on down the line. If you're doing enough of your IA dailies, you're going to eventually get these. They can also drop at random in the archive itself. It's 7,000 Archival Fortunes apiece times the 25 that you need. Unless you're just sick of IA and you only have a couple left to get, I would skip this one. Dwarven Theodolite Eye. This is for the Dwarven Theodolite pet. It is one of 7 different pieces that drop out of that lovely Dwemer public dungeon in Vardenfell that I'm not going to even try to say. I think this one's fairly easy to get. They have increased the drop rate on it. And at only 500 to 600 gold on PCNA from Guild Traders, definitely not worth the conversion to 7,000 Archival Fortunes. If you don't want to farm it, just go spend gold at Guild Traders. Let's skip books for now. Look at our first lead, Fortified Green Calcite Gears. This one is for Music Box Glyphic Secrets out of Telvanni Peninsula. So remember, you will need Telvanni Peninsula or Necrom in order to be able to get this one. The lead itself drops out of Hrothgar, one of the delves. It's another Dwemer one. Zenthganaz? Something like that. Not too difficult to get. And again, you'll need Telvanni Peninsula to even be able to buy the lead. Our next lead is Sticky Integument Leather. This one is for Thracian Stranglers. It drops from Sigic Portals in Somerset or Artaeum, so you will need the Somerset DLC as well in order to buy this. But you're going to dig it up in Ivea. If you're not familiar, Ivea is the Mages Guild territory you need to have finished the Mages Guild questline in order to be able to go and dig that up. And keep in mind, you're going to need to have leveled antiquities on the character that has done the Mages Guild questline. So just keep that in mind. These leads do expire in 30 days. So if you do buy this, make sure that you can dig up leads in Ivea. So you'll need antiquities and the Mages Guild questline on the same character to get this one. You have 30 days from the time you buy it. All right, let's see. Twin Slashes Lilac Purple. This one can be purchased for keys from Madge, the Undaunted vendor. She's also the one that gives out our pledges. I believe this is 20 keys from Madge. This one, whether it's worth it or not, really depends on if you do pledges regularly, how valuable 20 keys are to you. So 15,000 Archival Fortunes, I think personally is a little bit steep, but you may not. It kind of depends on if you prefer dungeons or Infinite Archive. All right, first book, Havocrel Strangers from Oblivion. Relatively plain looking book, and this one's going to cause a little bit of trouble. The eidetic memory for this one drops out of Rock Grove. It's after the first boss in Zanmir Corridors. If you don't run trials, you may want to try to read the eidetic memory from somebody else that has it. My guild hall is open on both PCNA and EU and is part of Home Tours. So if you have not run Rockgrove and you need to read the eidetic memory, feel free to come by my house on PC, NA or EU, read the book, and then you'll be able to buy it from the vendor here. Our next one is The Spotted Towers. This one drops in Infinite Archive, but the eidetic memory comes out of Telvanni Peninsula. This will also be in my house, but it's a little bit easier to get the eidetic memory. It's a small waterlogged book. Again, not too descript, but if you're like me, I like to collect them all. It's here for 1,000 Archival Fortunes. All right, let's run a couple arcs of Infinite Archive and see what Overland gear is dropping. And we just ran a couple arcs of Infinite Archive, and here's what we found. We've got gear dropping from Deshawn. That includes Mother's Sorrow, Night Mother's Embrace, and Plague Doctor. And from the Gold Coast, we have Flanking Strategist, Hide of Morehouse, and Sithis' Touch. That's going to do it for this week. We will see you in the next one.